What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, I want to talk about one of the kind of overlooked casualties of this recent announcement, the layoffs, and then more importantly, the restructuring of the company Steam Monsters Inc., which was, Invenium and GLS going to one side, and then Splinterlands being in its own bubble, or them being kind of like two separate entities. The main thing here, the main loss of utility to SPS that I see is the fact that there will no longer, or at least from my understanding, there's no longer probably going to be any kind of airdrops for SPS stakers the same way that we had with the GLS side, right? That GLS side is that airdrop's going to be coming to a close in less than a month, right? I think it's only like 3 weeks or so away. But there are a lot of, there's a lot of optimism for what Aggie was trying to build with the GLS platform. And then there was the arcade colony kind of thing that they were set to launch as well. I don't know what the status of that is, but, the hope, obviously the long-term hope is that the economy is, or, not economy, but the companies are still able to grow. And I'm still cheering for, the GLS side. I want them to do well. But as they do more, as they potentially add more things into their ecosystem, I don't know if there's going to be that same kind of carryover into Splinterlands, into SPS. As it is, there were a lot of people arguing against this whole thing from the GLS side, because most of the folks on the Splinterlands side would just take whatever GLX they had and then immediately dump it on the market. So it didn't end up working out that well for GLX. I mean, it doesn't help that GLX or the GLG game wasn't ready to go in the time frame that it was hoping to be. But either way, when you think about it, I don't know what kind of impact GLX had on SPS in the first place. Now, I will say this. As somebody who owns both, as somebody who is an SPS staker, it is nice for me to have this kind of other project that I essentially got for free, right? For my account, I didn't buy any GLX. I've just been getting the airdrop and then restaking it as I go along. I did sell some early on when GLX was going out for 30 cents, and at that point in time, I do wonder if there were more people that came in and started buying SPS, if there was any added buy pressure. But I think the dream that we had for SPS in terms of growing out the overall, we'll just call it like Steam Monsters ecosystem, was that every new game, every new project that they added on would give some kind of external utility to SPS. Indirect, but just something that gave you a little bit more, right? But ultimately, what we're seeing here, the economy during this bear market wasn't really growing. The player base wasn't really growing. And a lot of the stuff just ended up cannibalizing each other. So at the end of the day, maybe it ends up being a wash, but I still view it as something that we were all hoping for, this kind of potential utility, and now we have that loss of potential utility for SPS in the long run. That being said, I don't know if other things will be added into the Splinterlands game directly in the future. And maybe there could be some cool things, not tower defense, because I think the ship has sailed on that, but if there were other games that came in. But I'll be honest, and this is not a knock on Matt for anything, but like I think Matt's primary focus is on growing the actual game itself, not growing the ecosystem of games. Whereas Aggie, I think, had the opposite approach, and this is why they're probably both in the places that they are best suited for, because growing, GLS and all the partnerships and stuff there is really exciting. And Aggie, I think, has a knack for doing that, or at least has a vision for doing that. Matt's vision is more so on growing the core product here. But like I said, one of the casualties then becomes, well, if we're not expanding the ecosystem of games around Splinterlands, well, then we lose that utility to SPS that we were all hoping would come in. Now, maybe it would have amounted to being nothing. Maybe it doesn't add much value. Maybe people are looking at it right now and say, well, GLX didn't really do much. I mean, I sold all my GLX for a couple of pennies here and there. It doesn't really matter. Again, it's not the loss that we feel now. It's more so I'm just thinking future and the loss of potential that we had. And it's just something that I think is easily overlooked here. And as the dust is now settling from this major shakeup under the Steam Monsters umbrella, we'll call it, right? With Splinterlands on one side, Invenium GLS on the other side. I do wonder where that potential will be. And part of me is looking over on the GLS side, and like I said, I'm cheering for both, right? I want this whole ecosystem to succeed, or this whole project to succeed. But I just don't see it necessarily on the Splinterlands side, giving that utility to SPS the same way that we may see it now on the GLS side, right? So if this arcade colony thing does come in, it sounded as though that was more a branch of GLX, right? Or like Invenium, I should say. And when that comes out, maybe that utility doesn't come back to SPS because they're two separate companies. But maybe that arcade colony ecosystem, when it's launched, will end up going to the GLX token. So that could be exciting for that, but it seems like it's taken away from SPS. And for those who are not familiar, Arcade Colony is similar to the GLS platform, but they wanted to do it so that people could onboard essentially like any kind of like Web2 games, tokenize them, and give them that same value, but do it from a non-sports perspective, more like an arcade style perspective. So what GLS is, but just not sports focused. So I don't know, just sharing this with you guys as I was thinking through, upcoming future potential for SPS. That is something that I have now wiped off the board. Maybe we hear something different about it in the future, but like I said, everything with the way everything has played out so far in this restructuring, it does not seem like that is going to be anywhere remotely on the map for what Matt is planning for the game. There's still other exciting things that Matt is planning, but that's kind of a pill I've had to swallow in terms of, yeah, I guess we just lose that. I guess that as the ecosystem grows, right, a lot of that will be shifted over maybe to the other side of the Steam Monsters umbrella. But that is all I have for you guys in this video. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.